Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons. We're going to talk about Joe Manganiola's definitive documentary on Dungeons & Dragons. All right, so let's talk about this, because this is quite interesting. So the reason I said definitive is there are news organizations that are saying that he is about to have the definitive documentary on Dungeons & Dragons, and that Hasbro is actually financially backing a definitive a documentary on the history of Dungeons & Dragons, and it is going to be directed by Joe Manganiola. All right. So first of all, let's define our terms here. All right. So first of all, who's Joe Manganiola? I think most of you know, but there's it's okay. Like, we live in a complicated world now, and it's totally okay if different people don't know. Aren't really aware of Joe Manganiola. So who is Joe Manganiola? So one, so like, there are a lot of I don't want to say a lot. There are some very significant actual Hollywood stars who are aligned with Dungeons & Dragons. And I think a lot of people are like, Matthew Mercer? No. Matthew Mercer is not actual Hollywood. He's Hollywood adjacent. He's a voice actor. They're kind of like janitors in Hollywood, right? Like, kind of like, they're getting more respect, but like a B-list Hollywood star has way more clout than like Tara Strong, who's like the number one voice actor in the world right today. And so so I'm talking real Hollywood stars, right? So who are the actual Hollywood stars today who actually align themselves with Dungeons and Dragons? Probably the biggest right now is Vin Diesel, right? And he's very open about, he has a huge love for Dungeons and Dragons. He actually plays. When he gets interviewed, you could tell he actually plays. Deborah Ann Wall, she was on Daredevil and she was on True Blood, and also Joe Manganiola. So Joe Manganiola is a legit, real Hollywood star. He is B-list. He doesn't really lead movies, but he was in Rampage with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He played Deathstroke in the actual DCU. Now the DC, the DC extended universe, cinematic universe, is folding up on itself, so it kind of doesn't count, but it kind of counts. I think he was in Magic Mike. I never saw it, but I think he was. But I've seen this guy's IMDb, and he was on there. And he's got a few, and he's married to the actress who played Sophia, I think. Essentially the Latin mother on Modern Family, which had 11 seasons. 11 seasons. That show was huge, right? I'm not sure. I didn't finish it. Like, I kind of was like, they're kind of rehashing the same stuff. But Joe Manganiello is legit real Hollywood. Like, he's got real IMDb, like, real movies, and quite a few of them. So he's a real Hollywood, but he has a pure and 100% burning passion for Dungeons & Dragons. He loves Dungeons & Dragons. And actually, I think, and so why is this documentary being made? Well, one of the biggest reasons is Joe Manganiola was very clear that he wanted to be connected to Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. I think he wanted to direct it, right? And what ended up happening is D&D was like, we kind of want a real director, sorry. We know you were in Magic Mike, but like, we need a real director for this, sorry. And so they kept him at arm's length, and they didn't even include him as an actor, right? And this guy, legit, he is very hardcore, very real about Dungeons & Dragons. So one of the things is, I think he was connected to the Art and Arcana book in one way or another. And I actually have a shirt that was given out at PAX one year. That he also has a D&D like adjacent fashion apparel line. Man, everybody got something today. Like, everybody, like, woo, the merch rolls hard, right? Like, so, and I was given this nice shirt, which actually fit. Usually, I'm like a bigger guy, so I need a couple extra X's on there, but it actually fit. So that was really nice. And it's no small thing when, like, you can get clothes that actually fit, that you're excited about, so, rather than whatever they have at the big and tall rack, wherever you go. So it was, so I think this documentary is an apology to Joe Manganiola, because the reality is, Wizards of the Coast understands how powerful these Hollywood celebrities who love Dungeons and Dragons are. Oh, by the way, another one that I hadn't mentioned is Matthew Lillard. He's actually a part owner in Beetle and Grimm, right? Who actually make official D&D product, and he's a legit hardcore D&D fan. There are real Hollywood actors who are legit hardcore, fans. So the thing is, so where we land is, I think this documentary is an apology to Joe Manganiola for keeping him out of the movie, right? Because I think they want to give him something, but they couldn't really give him a real role or allow him to direct a real movie, because there's billions of dollars on the line here. Like, we know you're excited about your home game, but there's billions on the line here. And I think they made the right choice, right? Like, you don't want to experiment with this movie, right? And just because you like D&D doesn't mean you're the best pick to be in the D&D movie. So I'm really glad that they're making professional decisions. But I do feel genuinely bad for Joe Manganiola, and I am excited that they're giving him something. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about that word, definitive. This is not going to be a definitive documentary. This is going to be a very skewed documentary, because it's the person, if you do a documentary about your own history, that's just an autobiography, and everybody knows autobiography is going to have the good stuff and it's not going to have much of the bad stuff, right? So this is going to be incredibly valuable, and I'm excited to see the material in here, but this is just going to be a partial story. Right now, one of the things that I'm really excited about is there's about 5 or 6, like Slaying the Dragon, Game Wizards. There's about 5 or 6 now of these, maybe a dozen of these academic histories of Dungeons and Dragons. All of them are, in my opinion, point me to one that breaks this model, because I'd love to see it. Every single academic history of Dungeons and Dragons is the same thing now. Hi, hello, I'm a middle-aged white man who's upset that Gloria Williams ruled Dungeons and Dragons from 1986 to 1997, and here's my outrageous hit piece on her, wrapped in academia. It's the same thing. Slaying the Dragon, Game Wizards, Of Dice and Men, it's all... Gloria Williams sucked as a businesswoman, and I'm really upset that she ever had anything to do with Dungeons and Dragons, rather than recognizing that she very carefully protected Dungeons and Dragons for 11 years, fixed every single business problem that Gary Gygax injected into it, and made it incredibly valuable, made it worth $65 million to Peter Atkinson, and was probably and next to Gary Gygax is, no holds barred, the best guardian Dungeons and Dragons ever had, and put more value into the brand than anyone, right? When it was most at attack, right? It's astounding, right? So that's one thing I'm really excited about, is that this could set the record. This could be the first piece of history on Dungeons and Dragons to set the record straight and actually treat Lorraine Williams, in a fair and equitable manner. Because at this point, nothing has been written that is just not a horrible, at any academic level, that is anything but a horrible scree to the sky of, I'm a middle-aged white man, I'm so upset that Dungeons & Dragons had a CEO for 11 years who was a female. Right? That's all there is right now. And so we have this opportunity to finally land in a place where we get a real historical record of what Lorraine Williams actually accomplished for progressiveness, for feminism, for Dungeons & Dragons. And so there's a possibility, I'll tell you right now, I'm very certain, right? There are people in the industry that definitely listen to this channel, and a lot of, this has gone on too long, right? We've reached a point where the record needs to be set straight on Lorraine Williams, and needs to be freed from middle-aged white males, right? Because right now it's just a huge parade of prejudice. That's all the historical record is right now, and I really am looking forward for this documentary, and I think Joe Manganiola has a chance to do it, to be fair to her, and to actually free us from this absolutely horrific historical record, which is pure revisionism and just based on marinated prejudice right now. And I really think that's what Of Dice and Men is. That's what Slaying the Dragon is. That's what Game Wizards is. None of them gave her due, because and I think really it's misogyny. That's my humble opinion, but I'm very convinced. So I'm very excited that Joe Manganiola, especially coming from super woke Hollywood, can give her her due. And so that's one of the things I'm excited for. So those are all my opinions on this documentary coming from Joe Manganiola, coming from Hasbro. What do you think? What's going to be in here? What are you hoping will be in here? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.